Hello, my name is V Interpreter. Today I'm going to be discussing the short story from Sherman Alexie, Do Not Go Gentle, using the theme as loss. In this slide, I want to present the quote that was provided in the short story, where David mentioned as Mr. Grief being a millionaire on page 93. This image represents this part of the story, reflecting on how much money is invested in the medical equipment for all the sick children in the hospital where his son was at, including his son being in a coma. It required so many machines to breathe for him, to release bowels and urine. So this is where David felt that all that money invested in those machines made him a billionaire. This quote stood out to me. If you get addicted to the pain causing, then you start hurting people who do not need to be hurting. This was on page 93. And this quote reflects where he started to feel some kind of anger towards the situation and just wanted to scream, but he felt that he was taking it out on others, including his wife. So this picture reflects on how he is raging, and obviously his wife is not sure how she's to respond, since they are both going through the same situation. On this slide, the quote represents the mother that is grieving. One day when my wife was crying, I swear I saw Mr. Grief hiding behind her eyes. This was on page 93, and I feel that this quote really connected David with his wife, because he saw Mr. Grief in her. She was showing all those painful feelings and how the situation has impacted her. And not only with her tears, but he was able to see it just looking into her eyes. This quote, I figured she was sadder because she had carried our baby inside her womb and had memorized the way he moved. This quote was on page 94, and of course, any mother that carries a child and unfortunately has to mourn her child, they will go through a different type of grieving because they did carry that child for 9 months or however long their pregnancy could be. And it's a different type of grief because that connection starts when the child is developing, not just after birth and when the child is out of the womb. So he really was able to understand the fact that her grief and her pain and her sadness, it was a lot deeper than what he was experiencing. This image reflected a mother's love is forever, whether the child is deceased or just greatly ill like Abraham. There's gonna be pain. This image was quite interesting. Pretending to be happy can be exhausting. This is a reflection of the quote, it was good to feel good about something because my wife and I were all the way grieving. So for some people, they were putting up this image that they were getting through it just fine, but deep down inside, they were astonished with all the pain and hurt and unanswered questions and doubts about their son's recovery and if he was even going to recover. In this quote, I wanted to scream at them for being shallow and dirty as a shallow and dirty as a dog dish. So on this image, it represents where David felt very discomforted and not so understanding with how others were feeling about the children that were sick. They were taking it out of context and trying to make jokes and trying to reflect a different type of image. And meanwhile, David and his wife were just experiencing so much pain that they couldn't even fathom to try to think about anybody else and how anything is even functioning for them. I felt that this image was cute and kind of tied into the story very well. And the quote that I felt that this reflected on was, "But pretty soon everybody was taking their turn casting spells with the chocolate thunder." David chose quite interesting, different approach for healing. He went to go look for a baby toy and ended up coming with a sex toy, a vibrator. But his belief is what made that vibrator become a healing item for his child. And as others were finding their hope deep inside them, they were starting to see that there might be a chance that this could be working. So this image demonstrates how the spell is being casted by the chocolate thunder. On page 96, David decides to talk about maybe some people can get by with quiet prayers, but I wanted to show and scream and vibrate. So in this quote, the image that I chose was to demonstrate how David wanted to be expressing in the outside. He wanted to demonstrate how he was hurting, so he wanted to do it with physical showing, while others do it internally. He wanted to hold his pain and show it to others instead of bottling in his feelings. For this slide, every sick and dying and alive and dead kid heard it, and they were happy and good in that place. So at this point, David had hope in the chocolate thunder, and that it was being an item of healing for his son, as well as the other children that were surrounded in the ICU unit that needed that hope, that needed that healing. And he was confident enough that they were able to hear the vibration and the songs and just the hope from a parent needing to see some type of reflection that everything will be okay. So in this picture, I feel that I was able to demonstrate how the power of a father's hands can just radiate the hope to others to be able to carry on a positive belief. In this slide, everything, my quote that I chose, everything is stuffed to the brim with ideas and love and hope and magic and dreams. Alexi mentioned this in page 96, so I reflected this back with an image of a cup overflowing. This is just demonstrating everything that is happening at the same time to be able to find answers, to determine that there is more that could be done, that it's not just medicine. This is something that becomes more internal that you need to present in a different way. These are my citations for my images, as well as the book that we were reading, 10 Little Indians. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.